And I want to say, one day, Kenya will know that the MPs who voted yes are the true heroes of Kenya. I will not lie to the country that putting down the finance bill is going to be easy. I'll not be a leader. I have to be brutally honest.
If the protesters are actually saying something in totality about your government, not just about the finance bill. It's not about just the finance bill, is it?
Linus, as I have told you, we are a democracy. The people of Kenya can make a decision. Yeah? And I am perfectly, alive to the fact that when the people of Kenya finally, the same way they decided to elect me, when they make another decision, we will comply as the people of Kenya. That's what a democracy is all about. Let me tell you, Joe, members of parliament are representatives of the people, elected. They are not fools and they are not mad. And I want to say, one day, Kenya will know that the MPs who voted yes are the true heroes of Kenya. Those are the people who saw the opportunity for us to unchain our country from debt trap and take our country to the future. Let me tell you, Joe, and I want to say this to the people of Kenya, that my plan was to make sure that in the next 3 years, maximum 4 years, we have a balanced budget, where Kenya is not the country where we are today. Let me tell you, gentlemen, and I want to tell the people of Kenya the following. We are in a very difficult financial position. This is something that the people of Kenya must understand, and that is why I am happy that we have a crisis. This crisis will help us be candid and speak to each other properly and contextualize where we are. We raised this year 2.3 trillion from our taxes. Of that 2.3 trillion, 1.1 trillion went to debt financing. 1 trillion went to salaries. What did we do? We had to go and borrow to pay the counties. We had to go and borrow to fund our education. We had to go and borrow to fund. Now, the funding gap we have done with the finance bill going down is that instead of borrowing 600 billion, we are going to borrow 600 billion plus 346 billion. That is close to $1 trillion. And let me tell you, my good friends, and I want us to be honest with ourselves. This is not how a country will get to a status where we are proud of our nation. This is not how we are going to. This is not how we are going to grow. And that is why. Linus, this situation, this crisis is a very important inflection point that we can sit together, assess. Let us agree, and I have no problem. Let us agree. Yeah. Do we continue borrowing? And let me give you the statistics. When in 2013, Linus, just allow me 1 minute, please, with a lot of respect.
Okay.
In 2013, the debt stock of Kenya was 1.8 trillion. For 10 years, that increased 5 times to 11 trillion, 10 point something trillion. We built a lot of roads. We connected a lot of electricity. We did many things in 10 years.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The hashtag out there is RUTO must go. Doesn't need much interpretation does it? Protesters want you out of office. How do you respond to that?
Everybody is entitled to their opinion. I have a job to do. We are a country of rules. We are a constitutional democracy and citizens, because we all enjoy the freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Citizens are free to engage in discourse that they want to, but that is what it is. Those are the fruits and signs of a democracy.
But this is no ordinary discourse, Mr. President. Over 20 people are dead. 39 are missing through state-driven abductions. And first, they're asking a very simple question. 24 people dead. Your Excellency, do you have blood on your hands?
I have no blood on my hands. 19 people, to the record that I have from the security agencies, are dead. Very unfortunate. As a democracy, that should not be part of our conversation. 2.4 billion of property has been destroyed. The Office of the Chief Justice has been burnt. City Hall has been burnt. Parliament has been burnt. That is the situation.
Let's turn lives. Let's turn lives, Your Excellency.
19
let's
people
turn lives,
dead.
Your Excellency.
We have 19
I said
people
24.
Dead.
You said 19. Let's turn lives.
And number two,
Your Excellency.
On abductions.
Your Excellency, let's turn lives. There are people who are burying their children, whether they're 19 or 24, and they're watching now, and they want to see how you feel about the deaths. Give us your feelings, Your Excellency.
Let me tell you.
And you could give examples, Your Excellency. There is a 12-year-old boy, Kennedy Onyango from Rongai, whose mother narrated how his boy was basically just going to get books for his schoolwork. There is Rex Masai, who was shot in the middle of the street in Nairobi. And these are real human beings. Don't you feel a sense of responsibility for what is going on in the country?
Let me tell you the following. Any life that is lost is something that must bother anybody, beginning with myself. And it is the reason why I have told you that when I came into office, I said three things. Number one, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. And I have made sure that there is no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. Number two, when I came into office, I said I want an independent police service. And I did sign the necessary instruments so that the police does not need permission, does not need authority, and does not report to the office of the president. The police operational, financial independence, I have made sure that the police don't have to ask me, don't ask anybody. They operate independently. And number four, it is true that children got into situations that they became victims of the demonstrations. What started to all of us, and I have spoken about it, I have said, the young people who have stepped forward to engage in the political discourse of their country in a peaceful manner, tribeless, are a welcome development in Kenya. That I said. But let me also say the following. These great young people who have stepped forward to prosecute their agenda, the affairs of the country, I am certain that they did not ban Parliament. Criminals and other agents who took advantage of a legitimate concern of Kenyans stepped in, went and banned the Chief Justice's office, went and banned City Hall, went and banned Parliament, and destroyed property of innocent citizens.
The parents, Mr. President, what are you telling them? These things have happened under your watch.
I am telling every parent, I have kids like they do. And I care when there are issues in town where criminals can take advantage of situations and create a situation where the police have to use rubber bullets, the police have to use live bullets in some cases, because that is what an independent police service has to do. And I am sure the police have a record and have an explanation for every incident that they were engaged in.
Because that is what many people have called it. You have said, watch this space. And here there are all these other things that young people are asking you about. What is that concrete thing that you're telling them tonight that I have heard you? These are the things I've heard you say since all these things started, and this is what I have done. Because you seem to have withdrawn or declined to sign this finance bill rather grudgingly, but not in good faith, having understood what people were saying. You're regretting this thing. You're saying, you guys mutaona, mmekataa lakini mutaona. That is what we're hearing.
Let me tell you that I will not lie to the country that putting down the finance bill is going to be easy. I'll not be a leader. I have to be brutally honest. And those consequences, it will start with me. To cut down the budget in my office, to remove what we call austerity, to implement an austerity program that will cut down on unnecessary stuff, unnecessary offices, or offices that we can take down. I am ready to even engage the young people and for them to, because they want an engagement. I too want an engagement for us to agree. So what do we do with the debt? What do we do with the following? What do we do with the following? They will tell me, do this, fire so-and-so, fire so-and-so, do this. And I will tell them what is possible and what I think we could do it differently. Or are you telling me that I should just listen and implement without making a contribution to the conversation? I thought we are having a conversation.
I'm just telling you what they are saying. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing, because yes, you did say you are not in their spaces, but I am in their spaces. And
in 2 weeks, Your Excellency, by now you'd have known what you should do. And I mean, there are basics.
Which 2 weeks?
2 weeks of the riots and 2 weeks of the protests. It's been 2 weeks.
It started the other Monday. So let me ask you, Linus, the protests, I finally decided that because we didn't communicate sufficiently to the people of Kenya the import of the finance bill, and there was so much built around it, including a lot of fake things, you know, that were not in the finance bill. Many things that were not in the finance bill were used to fight the finance bill. And you know, at some point, many people did not even care what was in the finance bill. Do not care. I think, you know, at some point, you know, as leaders, we must stop somewhere and say, we have a country to run. I mean, we cannot be reckless. We must, at some point, stop and say, what are the consequences? Because everything we do has consequences. And we must be careful as a nation to make sure that our country does not go down to the dogs. And believe me, countries, you know, have gone in the wrong direction. And we must be careful. And I don't want to be the leader that took the country in the wrong direction. We must be measured, we must be careful, we must listen to the young people, we must listen to other views and be able to make a carefully well thought out plan for the country out of where we are.
Yeah, but what if the protesters are actually saying something in totality about your government, not just about the finance bill? It's not about just the finance bill, is it?
Linus, as I have told you, we are a democracy. The people of Kenya can make a decision. Yeah? And I am perfectly, alive to the fact that when the people of Kenya finally, the same way they decided to elect me, when they make another decision, we will comply as the people of Kenya. That's what a democracy is all about. People can vote in a government, people can vote out a government for whatever judgment the people have. So I want to be very clear to the people of Kenya that I will do my best to make sure that I tell the country the truth and I take the country forward. And I am committed to that. And I can see Kenya changing. If I had managed to pass this finance bill, Kenya would not be the same. We would take this country to the next level. The kind of investment I have made, the kind of collaboration with many friends that we have done, we would begin to see this country soaring into the future. But all is not lost. Maybe we have taken one step back. Sometimes maybe it is necessary to take one step back to be able to take many steps forward. And that is my thinking of this situation.
But surely it must bother you, Mr. President, that 2 years ago you ran such a euphoric campaign with things like Hatupangwingwi, and 22 months down the line, your State House is surrounded by the military. The military tanks, scary as they are rolling on the streets of major cities. And as we sit here today, people are saying RUTO must go. Surely that is such a fast slide. There must be something that causes one to pause and say, how did we get here? What happened here? And one would have expected an earth-shaking statement tonight that tells the country, I get it. Something has shifted in a major way in our country, and I'm also shifting as your president who's listening, and this is the new direction things are going to take.
Let me tell you, Joe, I came into office at a difficult time. Yeah? We have a combination of coming out of COVID. We have a serious drought that hit our country. We had interest rates that went up everywhere. We went into a very difficult situation. What did many countries do? Many countries went and defaulted. And I don't want to mention countries because it's not right to mention. But almost 8 countries in Africa went down. Many people expected Kenya to be among the 8. But believe you me, I have carefully managed the economy of Kenya. Kenya is not among the countries that have defaulted. If anything, we have running programs in Kenya. We have a whole housing program that is running. We have a whole digital program that is running. We have made changes in our education. We've hired more teachers. We've made sure that we have a new funding model for our universities. We have supported our farmers. We have reduced the cost of living. We have done many things, even in the context of all the challenges that we have had. I am telling you, I came in and I believe I am the right person to be in this space when Kenya is in a difficult position, because I believe I am the person who can sort out the challenges that faces Kenya at a point like this.
But when the public and the protesters, the Gen Z, some of who actually formed the base of your election campaign, are telling you, we are disappointed, you've not delivered. Hashtag RUTO must go. What do you tell them?
Let me tell them the following. good friends, the young people of our nation, my sons and daughters who supported me to win the election. I hear you. In fact, I saw, I think it was on your headline, a gentleman from my village who was saying, the president has let us down. Many children in this village are not getting jobs locally. That is why they are going abroad. Little did he know, my good friend from my village, that the children, the 500 of his colleagues around our village, are actually part of my plan on export of labor. They have actually, I intentionally supported them to leave the country because we got them jobs outside Kenya. So I am telling the young people of our nation to be patient. Our housing program is rolling. We will be hiring more architects, we will be hiring more engineers, we will be hiring more professionals to support our housing program. In the next 2 years, we will have 300, maybe 1,000 people working in that space. Be patient. We are sorting out the challenges that are facing our digital space. We are rolling out our digital space. Young guys, by the end of next year, God willing, we will have a digital hub in every ward in Kenya because we have already started that process. Every TVET in Kenya today has an ICT hub with young people monetizing their talent. I want to tell them we are full speed into manufacturing. That is why we're saying we're no longer importing clinker, we're no longer importing steel, we're no longer importing clinker, we're no longer importing furniture. We are going to stop importing eggs, we're going to stop importing onions and all this because we want to promote our local manufacturing to be able to create jobs for them. We are no longer going to be importing diapers or sanitary pads from other countries. They are going to be manufactured here.
Mr. President,
I have worked with the industries to make sure that we create opportunities for these young people. We're going to work with them to deal with the challenge of corruption. We're going to work with them to cut down on government largesse. I am going to make sure that we have a lean government that responds to the reality of where we are as a country. That is what I am telling my good young people.
The young people. There's another group of young people. Please speak to them directly.
Yes.
The young doctors who are